Kat Pierce. It
Hi,
is
Daniella.
such a pleasure to have you on. Mom, curious. I'm getting choked up by just hearing your the beginning of your song.
Aw, thanks for having me.
You're such a beautiful singer songwriter.
Oh, thank you so
I'm so
much.
inspired by you. You do so much more than that, though. Maybe you can introduce yourself. I know that we have your bio in the show notes, but every day is different. And I'm wondering, who are you today? Who is
Who am
Kat
I
Pierce?
today? Today, I'm renovating my new house.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so excited. It's the first house I've owned, and
Wow.
it's just been my dream to like really be able to make a home my own, and that is just so exciting to me right now. But yeah,
It
I do
really is.
lots of things.
You do lots of things. Tell me, what do you do aside from singing and acting? I know you have a product line of really divine scents and
Yeah.
um
Well, I'm a singer-songwriter primarily. I've been in a band with my sister for a long time, the Pierces, and I've done some solo stuff too. And I just started a beauty line called Omen.
mm,
When I was trying to get pregnant a few years ago, I was having trouble getting pregnant, and I was reading all this stuff about, phthalates and affecting your hormones. And so I started cutting out all of these chemical laden products that I used. And I started creating my own because I was like, oh, I just want to get like a really, you know, beautiful oil mix for my skin, and I'm obsessed with lip balm, and
mhm.
I mean I go through it like crazy. So I'm like I'm eating this stuff practically. So I want to make it, something that's healthy for my skin and for my body. And I've always been interested in beauty products since I was little. So I just kind of started developing it at that point, and then all of my friends and family were like, "This stuff's really good. You should sell it." So that's kind of been my latest venture.
Wow, that's amazing. My daughter actually is 3.5 and she has always loved creams and, like,
Huh?
potions, and,
Yeah.
like, she's so feminine in that way, like, she wants to, like, put makeup on,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it's really cute, and I love it for her, like, I
Yeah.
just think that's so what a great way to express yourself, cool, but,
Yeah.
like, there are so many shitty things
Yeah.
in these makeup products, even that they make for
Mhm.
children,
I
that I'm like,
know.
I think I have to find her
Some
lipstick that, like,
natural
is
products.
edible. Yeah.
Well, it's
Like,
funny
literally
because
edible, right?
I feel the same way. Like when I see my daughter like picking up my products and using them, I'm like, "Wait, what's in that?" And
Yeah,
I'm like, "We should use the same care for ourselves."
I know.
Of course, like we think of it with our children that we're trying to protect, but yeah, we should have the same like we don't want to put things on our lips and skin that we can't eat or absorb, and
I know.
it'd be healthy. So yeah, that's it's I've definitely become more conscious of that in the past few years. And I still have, a couple of products that I can't give up that probably have some chemicals in them. But, for the main your main routine, it's good to get it as chemical free as possible and as
I
healthy
feel
as possible.
like when you're pregnant, all of a sudden people start telling you things around, like, what to eat and how to move and what to do,
Uh-huh.
where you sort of get this hint like, "Wait, I was a person, like, 2 months ago. Like, I definitely was a human being who,
Yeah.
like, needed to, like, take care of myself then. Why did no one tell me that
I
before?"
know, I know. Well, I think especially when you're having trouble getting pregnant, you start to really hold a magnifying glass up to every
Mm.
aspect of your life, and think, "Well, is this the reason? Is this the reason? Is this the reason?" And that is when the advice comes in. But yeah, we should always care for ourselves, as much as possible. But I guess when you're getting pregnant, it really becomes amplified.
So the way that I found you is through Genevieve Angelson, who's one
Yeah.
of my best friends in the whole world,
Oh, I love
and
her.
I love her so much. She was a guest on the show in the very first season, and that one conversation was just like art, you know?
Oh,
And,
she's incredible to
well,
talk to.
she's an artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's an incredible person,
Yes, she
and
is.
she is so in love with you.
Oh, well, that is so sweet, and it's mutual.
Yeah, and, you know, when she shared your beautiful song about Um, well well, maybe you'll tell me what it's about.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, I had trouble getting pregnant, and I just felt like I wanted to try to connect with this soul that I was trying to bring in, and so I wrote a song for her, um, and I can hear her downstairs saying,
it's so
"Mama,
beautiful.
mama." But yeah,
Making music right now, right? That
yeah.
"Mama!"
I wrote a song just calling her in, just, like, saying, "We love you already. I know this is a scary, intimidating place to come into, but we're gonna take care of you." And, yeah, I just would sing it. I would sing it in the shower. I would, sing it just when I was feeling sad, and it kinda just made me feel like I was building this connection with her, and it helped me keep faith that I was gonna bring her in. And it took a long time, it took a lot of doctors, it took a donor egg, it took a lot, but we got her
Mm.
here, and she's absolutely incredible and, just better than I could have imagined, and I'm getting emotional talking about it, but she's just my favorite person.
Really? How old is she?
She's 16 months or 17 months, and she's just hilarious and just ha Dad does playing with her downstairs. Um, she's just so funny, like, you just don't you forget that you're just bringing in this, like, fully formed, soul, and she just has so many funny little quirks and such a personality already, and it's so incredible to watch and see and just be like, "Wow, I'm just here to, like, guide you and show you the way, but you are already this person." It's
Wow.
really amazing.
Can you tell us about the journey?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've have you if you have listened to, some of our episodes here, like, we really try to reflect to the community all the different ways we can become parents
Yeah.
and live in parenthood,
Uh-huh.
and, I didn't actually know that it was by way of donor egg, that it was, like, the last sort of moment where what's your
Yeah.
daughter's name?
Lenora, we call her
Where
Lenny.
Lenny sort of found her way here through you,
Mhm.
but, we've never actually explored that, we've
Oh,
never and I think
well, let's talk
it's
about it.
yeah, let's talk about it so other people who I'm sure, you know, many people are seeking either surrogacy or IVF or, like,
Yep.
assistance in some way, um, and donor egg is new to the podcast, but not new in this world, and I think it's such
Yeah,
a beautiful
a lot of people don't wanna talk about it.
mm,
Um, and when I first heard about when someone first suggested it to me, I was like, "No way." I was like, "Absolutely not. Why wouldn't I adopt?" I want it to be, I wanna try as hard as I can for it to be my egg, my DNA, and I just felt very shut off to it. And then a couple more people suggested it, and someone showed me a photograph of a family, and I was just so struck by how happy they looked. It was a mom who had had two little girls through donor egg, and they just they looked like a family, and they looked like hers. It really
and they
struck,
were.
and they were, and I think just seeing that photo, and of course they're a happy family. It just really
But not
connect
of course. I mean, like, when you're
Yeah,
in that situation, you're like, "I don't
yeah.
know."
Yeah, yeah, it's scary. It was scary, and I had to kind of let go. I had to mourn some things and let go of some things, but it was actually an easier path to get on than I first imagined it would be. I think I had done 2 rounds with my own eggs. I was 44 at the time, and, my
Was it
doctor was like
IVF
with
that you did 2
IVF.
rounds of?
Yeah. My doctor was like, if you keep trying with your eggs, we might get one. You know, if you try like 4, 5, 6 more times, we might get one." And I was just like, "Wow, I'm going to put my body through all of this and spend all of this money, and it's still a maybe," you
Right.
know?
Right.
And she was like, I suggested donor egg. I was like, "What do you think about donor eggs?" She said, "I think it's a great option, and that takes your chances up from like, you know, 4% to like 85%."
Wow.
And when I heard that, I was just like, "Oh my goodness," because it wasn't about me being able to carry. It was just the quality of my eggs because of my age. And we had also talked about adoption, but it was right around the time of the pandemic, and suddenly, like, adoption was really muddy, and, like, adopting from another country, impossible. Adoption within the country, way more difficult. Just, like, everything was kind of shut down. And we really wanted to move forward, and I just suddenly thought, donor egg is a way for me to carry the baby, for my husband's DNA, to be involved. His parents, it was going to be their first grandchild. I knew that was important to them, and I'd always wanted to carry a baby. I'd wanted to breastfeed a baby,
Mm.
and I just was like, you know what, this is an amazing option. So I started down that path. We started looking for a donor. I found someone that I really connected with. Um, she didn't look just like me. She actually had
Mhm.
we had like similar facial features, but she was part Chinese, like,
Mm.
but my baby looks like me. Like she
I've seen pictures actually,
Yeah.
and what's interesting is, like, I also interviewed a friend of mine who adopted,
Mhm.
and her son looks just like her.
Yeah. It's crazy, like,
So
and not even that that's that important, but it is kind of like a little, like, magical bonus. I'm like, "Wow," like, people tell me all the "She looks so much like you," and I'm like, "That's interesting." But they do say that when you carry, a baby, even if it's not your egg, that your RNA can affect the DNA. So it's like your RNA goes in and kind of flips on and off switches that it recognizes. So it's like, "Oh, that's familiar to me. I'm gonna flip that switch on." So it can kind of like pull from your attributes, even though it's not like your actual DNA. It can
Wow.
it can connect with things that are familiar and turn those switches on, which is incredible.
That it really is incredible. I think when in the research around epigenetics,
Uh-huh.
they say that the sort of and they did a lot of research with, descendants of Holocaust survivors, like,
Mhm.
what happens in trauma is
Uh-huh.
that, the RNA changes the DNA of the
Uh-huh.
baby so
Uh-huh.
that the baby becomes a little more hypervigilant because they're in a sort of traumatic environment, so in
Right.
order to stay alive, it goes in there like, "Beep, beep, 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 beep."
Yeah.
But what would happen if it was the opposite? What if, like what if the mom is in this serene, grateful,
Mhm.
etcetera,
Mhm.
this good place? What kind
Yeah.
of buttons were you pressing on that DNA? I mean, it's
Right.
really amazing.
It's really amazing. It's really amazing. But yeah, I think as soon as I got pregnant with the donor egg, I was like, "You know what? I wanna be really open about this and share," because I know a lot of people don't know that much about it, because a lot of people who do it wanna keep it a secret. They wanna
Oh,
Yeah, they don't want people to know it's not their egg. And, a lot of women in Hollywood do it because 'cause they're getting pregnant later, and but they don't mention it. Like some people you never see pregnant, but suddenly they've got a baby, or that, they use a donor egg and a surrogate. Um,
right,
so I wanted to kind of just break through the taboo of that, and be open about it. And um I feel like, if I don't have shame about it, she's not gonna have shame about it, and it's just an incredible option for people who, had to wait to get pregnant, or didn't find the right partner, or for
right,
whatever reason.
right.
It's a really incredible option.
Did you say, I thought I heard you say that it was expensive to do IVF.
Mhm.
Was this a less expensive option?
Well, it's not less expensive, but the chances are better.
Right.
So if it's more of a surefire investment. Like you
Wow.
can continue to do rounds of IVF with your own eggs and not ever get pregnant because you may not have eggs that are, high enough quality to turn into an embryo. But this, you're generally using eggs from a younger donor, and
Right.
so your chances go way up. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
And
so,
how long did you try before exploring this option?
we had been trying for years and, naturally, and we tried IVF for, the process of IVF can actually go really quickly. They implant,
Yes.
it doesn't work, and then they're like, "Okay, let's go again." So we did 1 round, didn't work, we did another round, didn't wor or I did implant with an embryo the first time of mine. It didn't work. And then the second time, we got 2 embryos, and then we decided to have them tested, and neither one of them were viable. So
Right.
at that point, we were like, we only have limited funds. You know, are we going to keep doing this and putting my body through all the hormones and all of this agony for the possibility that it might work? You know, or can we use younger, healthier eggs and start our family
Oh my god,
sooner?
I love it.
Yeah.
Also because Lenny just wanted that egg.
Lenny wanted that egg.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I would say to people, like, I've been able to talk to a lot of women who are having trouble getting pregnant about donor eggs, and they're like, "You know, what if I don't like, what should I use, this donor or that donor? I'm so confused." And I'm like, it doesn't matter. That's just the vehicle for the soul. You're calling in the soul and you're providing a body for it, the
Mm,
vehicle. So just
mm.
it's it almost doesn't matter. People would agonize like, but I really wanted a donor with blue eyes, or I really wanted a donor with curly hair so it looks like me. And I'm like, you never
Right.
know what you're going to get anyway. I know people who have kids that are their own and don't look anything like them.
Oh,
So
for sure. Yeah.
you never know. So just like what someone suggested to me was like, find a donor that you have like good that has a good energy, that you'd want to be friends with, that you feel some sort of connection to. Like, go on feeling rather than like they look just like me, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Not that that's silly. I mean, there is something about that.
Yeah.
I totally understand
Mhm.
the want,
Yeah,
the want. But
the
there
one.
is there it now that you are a parent, now that I am a parent, I realize, like, there is so much out of our control. Like, there is
Totally.
just, like, more out of our control than in our control.
Always.
That it's like, we
You
can't
can't
bank on any of it.
you can't, like, you can orchestrate it only so much, and then it's
Mm.
just like luck of the draw. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Do you keep in touch with the donor? Is that something that continues on, or is that just, uh, not of
No,
interest?
I don't think that's something that she wanted. She said that, there's contracts and everything similar to, like, adoption papers, and,
Totally.
she said she's open when, if Lenny's 18, when after she's
Wow.
18, if Lenny wants to go find her and meet her, if that's something that interests her, she's open to that, and I would be open to that too if that's something that Lenny wanted. Um, but, I, like, have so much, gratefulness for her, doing this, and I think about her, and I hope she's doing well. Like,
Yeah.
I almost think of her as, like, part of my family. I don't think she probably doesn't think of it that way, but I just, like, have, like, this care and, like, love for her, and
Yeah.
for her doing that, and for the gift that she gave me.
Yeah. There are so many sperm donors out there. I guess what you're saying is that there are plenty of egg donors out there, we just don't know it?
Oh,
Because
there's
I
so many. Yeah,
really?
it's like you go on, like, a dating app and you flip through, pictures of them, and you read all about them. They tell you, like, with their interests and their attributes and what they love to do, and you kinda it's a really interesting process. I found it to be fascinating and kind of fun,
Yeah.
and I've even helped there's been a bunch of people that have reached out to me because I was vocal about it on social media, I've had a lot of people
Thank
reach
you
out
for
to me.
that.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out to me on social media, and I've helped a couple people, you know, choose their donor, which has been
That's
it's really
amazing.
fun. It's like a little matchmaking process. The donor that I chose was like, "You know what? I think of this as cells from my body. I don't think of it as like I'm giving you a child. I'm giving you a cell."
Which I
And yeah, and she said, this is helping me explore my dreams because she's a super creative woman, and it was helping her the funds were helping her live her dream. And she
Wow.
said, and I'm helping you live your dream, and I just feel great about that. And I was like, yes, you're the one.
You're the one.
Yeah.
When we interviewed a friend of mine who, chose single parenthood by way
Hmm.
of sperm donor,
Hmm.
she said that she flipped through the catalog
Yeah.
and she really, like, took in and she never met this man. I'm assuming you
Hmm.
met the woman?
I met her on Zoom.
Wow.
Hmm.
So she never met this man, but she saw what he had journaled, you know? And,
Oh.
like, she really considered his handwriting and
Uh-huh.
his message to these families, and, um, yeah, I mean, that's how she picked this person because of his sort of soul.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, and I know another family who has connected with their sperm donor, like,
Uh-huh.
there's, like, a set of twins in one family and then a child in another, and now
Hmm.
they're like brother and sister like brothers and sisters
Oh,
and hang
that's so
out,
sweet.
but
Yeah.
they don't know the donor himself, they just
Oh,
know
okay.
that they're all connected somehow,
Right.
um, which I thought
That's
was really beautiful because the truth is we are all connected,
yeah, totally,
like, we
totally.
are all family,
Mhm,
they just
mhm.
happen to sort of know it on a DNA level.
Genetically. Genetically,
Genetically.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How was being pregnant?
I found it to be really tough.
You're the first one to ever say that on the Mom Curious podcast.
Well, it's funny because my mom was pregnant 5 times, and she loved it. She was like, "I
What?
love being pregnant." She loved giving birth. So I expected to have that experience, and I had quite the opposite. I was really, really nauseous and exhausted for pretty much the whole time. The last trimester was actually my best. Everyone says, "Oh, it gets better in the second." Mine got better in the third. I just was so nauseous, and if I wasn't eating, I felt like I was gonna puke. So I was just constantly eating, and I remember one point I was like crying, eating. I was like, "I'm so sick of eating." But I had to. Like, eating and being nauseous at the same time was such a weird experience. I'm older, so it was just like I was really, really tired the whole time. I found that frustrating, but, you know, I can't even fully connect to that feeling now, and I think that's like
Biological.
evolutionary, trick that's played
Totally.
on women. Because 'cause I'm like, I know in my mind it was terrible, but I think back, I'm like, "Was it that bad? Should I have another?" And labor
Ooh,
was
would you have another one?
I don't think so. My older sister is about to have a baby via surrogate, and
Oh.
she used the same egg donor. So our
Oh.
babies are going to be sisters.
Oh my god, Kat, that's
Isn't that crazy?
beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that so much.
She thought she didn't wanna have a baby. She was like, "I missed the boat. I'm fine with not having it." And then when she met Lenny, she fell madly in love, and she had such a connection with her, and I was like, "You need a baby." And she was like, "I think I might need a baby." So, we got the same egg donor,
Wow.
and so the babies are gonna be half sisters.
Wow, Kat, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And this is your sister who you make music with?
Yes.
This is your
It
soulmate?
Yeah, and we literally I just bought the house next door to her, literally
Oh,
next door. This sounds like a fairy tale, but I we bought it, it all like lined up magically. Like we weren't ready to buy a house, but then magical forces came in and made it happen. Bought the house next door to her. We're cutting a hole in the hedge so the sister cousins can play together. So I brought this up because you asked if I was going to have another baby, but so I'm not, technically going to have another baby, but I'm about to have another baby in
in
my
your life.
backyard.
Wow! That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like
really
the perfect baby situation, actually.
right?
I think
Right?
so.
Like, it takes a village. We're gonna have a little village.
Wow, you did it. Oh my gosh.
We did it.
Isn't that amazing how it all worked out like that?
I mean, I'm still kind of in shock, totally in shock, but it's incredible, and we're super excited to for this all to happen.
How was the labor?
It was a can I cuss? It was a fucking nightmare.
I love it. I love it.
I read every book on
Every
natural
single one. Oh,
every
everyone.
single one. I wanted to have a home birth,
Oh,
but
yeah.
everyone was like, "You're 44, about to be 45, don't have a home," I know you
Ugh,
can.
I'm so sick of people with the age shaming.
I
I'm done
know.
with it. I'm just so
Well, just like
done.
there was a hi there's higher
High risk.
risks, more
Yeah.
risks, and, like, it took so much to get pregnant, so I was like, "Fine, I'll just labor at home as long as possible, and then just zip over to the hospital and pop her out and just zip home." Like, I
Just
literally
like that. Just like
because
that.
my mom that's what happened to my mom. She, like, popped out 5, and she was like, "It's a good pain.
How
it's not that bad."
I don't know her. I don't understand.
Yeah.
What did you
I
mean?
think
How
maybe
old
she
was she?
forgot.
Was she, like, in her teens?
She was when she had her first, she was 19, and then
My mom also.
yeah, and then she had 5. So I think maybe having them that young, maybe it's easier, and then your body's like, "Oh, I remember what to do," and just cranks them out. But my body was like, "What the hell is happening? I
My
thought we
body's like,
were supposed to do this."
I make music. My body is no,
Yeah,
I've been taking birth control my whole life to not do this.
right. My
Yeah.
body was like, "What is going on?" And my water broke at midnight on January 13th, and I was like, "Oh my god, okay." And then there was merconium in
Yeah,
the fluid, and so I called my doula, and she was like, "Oh, you gotta go to the hospital. Like the baby, if there's merconium in the fluid, it's
that's poop.
dangerous for the baby. You gotta go straight there." And I was like, "Oh, I wanted to labor at home." So, there goes that dream. So we go to the hospital, and they're like, "You're not dilated at all." And I was like, "Okay, so we'll wait around, wait around." I was just not dilating, and they were like, "You got to get the baby out within, I think,
24 hours.
yeah, or 36 was like the max, or it's gonna be a risk for the baby's life." So I was like, "Okay," so just wouldn't dilate. Nothing was happening. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Finally, they were like, "Do you want to take pitocin?" And I was like, I didn't want to do any of this. I read every book on natural birth. This is not supposed to be happening. Took
I
Pitocin.
I had the same thing, by the way. My
You
my
did?
water broke. There was meconium.
Yeah.
There
Uh,
wasn't meconium in the beginning, for me, but my water broke, I wasn't dilating, the Pitocin, and I was the whole time thinking, like, "I'm supposed to be
yeah.
hypnotized in a pool."
I was gonna have an orgasmic birth.
I
That was
we were
my
supposed we were
yeah.
supposed to be making love while the baby was coming out. I mean, I don't know. I don't
No.
know. I saw a YouTube video, and they seemed to be
Yeah.
having a great time.
Yeah. No, 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 no. It was
That
it
wasn't
was
how it
it
went.
was hell. It was utter hell. But I mean, I hate to scare people who might be listening to this who've never, gone through labor, but I as awful as it was, like, literally every intervention had to happen, beyond C-section. I escaped C-section by, like, a hair because my doctor
Yeah.
was like, "If you give us one" she was in the birth canal for 3 hours, and they were like, "If you give us one more push, give us everything you got, we're gonna not have a C-section," and I was like, "Okay." And I did it. I got her out,
Yay.
but it was a close one. But then I look back on it all fondly,
I
weirdly,
know.
like, as hellish as it was, I was like, what a 2 it took 2 days. I was like, what a ride." And, like, I got to witness my husband be just so incredible and supportive, and I don't know, it's sometimes, like, when you go through these, like, near tragedies, it's just the relief on the other side is so great,
I
and
know.
you almost look back on it fondly, like, what a moment. What a moment in life.
Yeah, I mean, I I often, have these conversations around bringing life into the world, and the inevitable conversation, around death happens, which is, like, when we're so close to death
Mhm,
and to, like,
mhm.
it all not being great,
Yeah,
not being at all,
yeah.
like, it it really puts things into perspective. I mean, bringing life into the world is really a big fucking deal.
It's a big fucking deal, and I
And you
feel
did
like
that, and you did that. You
I did it.
literally did that. I mean,
I am the first woman who ever did it. Just kidding.
congratulations.
Thank you. No, but it is such a big deal, and I'm
Mm,
always amazed, like, since I've had the experience, I'm like, "Why is every woman not telling this story at the dinner table?" You know how, like, men, like, catch a fish or whatever, they tell the story of or, like, people tell these big life stories, and that so often you don't hear about until you are having your own baby, then people tell you, but I'm like, everybody needs to and if they went through this, they need to fucking have a dinner party and tell everybody about it.
I mean, that's what this podcast is, a b dinner party and telling everyone about it,
Right.
honestly. That's
It's just
honestly because I think you're absolutely correct. Like, why are
Mhm.
we withholding this information from our sisters, right? Like, you
Yeah,
didn't withhold it from your literal sister, and she was like, this is a
right,
great idea. I'm gonna go
right.
for it, and it's gonna be the
Yeah,
best thing ever."
right. And you see it on TV, like, you grow up seeing it on TV, you see women, like, screaming and, in
Breathing room.
labor.
Yeah.
And you just don't really realize that those screams are connected to actual, real, incredible pain like you've never experienced. It just seems kinda like a Hollywood, like, whatever. But yeah, but I know some people it's not that horrible for, but for some people, it really is very, very, very painful.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up getting a, epidural because the Pitocin is
I
actually more painful, so just to validate
Yes.
your
Mhm,
experience, like,
mhm.
it is more painful
Yeah, I think
than
it gets, like,
where
35% more painful when you take Pitocin,
yeah. So
and
if and I sort of opted for the epidural because of that, although you can I mean, you did it. You did it. It's just harder 'cause they
yeah,
come on fast and furious. It's like, you know, it's,
uh-huh,
um, it's medicine, and
yeah,
so it's trying to catch up to
uh-huh,
dilate you, and
yeah.
so it's a real thing that it hurt more. Like, that
Oh,
really did
yeah,
happen. It hurt
it
cat,
really
that,
hurt,
like, really
yeah.
did hurt more. That happened.
And I did the epidural too, which
Mm,
I absolutely hated. At first, I was like, "Oh
yeah.
my gosh, relief," and then I was like, "I'm paralyzed from the waist down," and I had already been awake for, like, 24 hours, so I felt like I was tripping, and, like, a nurse
I
was
mean
coming holding up my leg, and I was touching my leg, I was like, I'm paralyzed. I'm paralyzed. That to me was almost more traumatic than the pain of the contractions. The whole
it's
thing
so
was just awful.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
just so crazy. It's so crazy, and then we're walking
Crazy.
around
Yeah,
just
and
living our
that's how it
lives like
happens.
nothing happened.
That's how it happens. And I found the epidural wore off when it was time to push, and that was painful, but I actually found that to be, like, purposeful
Oh,
pain,
yeah.
you know?
That felt good. That part
Yeah,
felt
I
good.
was like, this makes sense because I know something's happening. And, like, it's coming out, and I know like, how to get it out, and that to me was, like, the least painful part, even though that, that seems like it would be the worst, but to me, that one it made sense, and it was like, it's she's coming, so it was kind of like the excitement and the adrenaline maybe masks some of the pain as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. How has
Mhm.
it been? How has the past year and a half been being a
It's
mom?
been incredible. The first month was like my favorite one of my favorite times in my life. Everyone says like you lose sleep and it's, so awful and they're crying all the time. She was actually a really, really good good baby, like, just not a lot of
Mm.
crying. If she did cry, it was, she was hungry, I'd feed her, or she was tired, put her to sleep, like, she was really easy in that regard, and so we just spent, like, this beautiful month in bed, just and my
Mm.
sister was bringing us food, and we were just, like, in this little love bubble, little cuddle bubble for a month, and it was one of my favorite one of my peak life experiences, and I feel like a happier person with as a mom. I feel like even though I'm getting less sleep, I somehow magically have more energy to do the things I need to do when I need to do them.
Wow.
Um, I feel like you like pull resources from other places, when you suddenly like I used to be so pathetic. Like if I didn't get 8 hours, I was totally useless the next day. And so I imagined that that's how I was going to be as a mom. I was like I'm going to be useless. But now it's like I run on less sleep, and I have this purpose and this drive, to like get things done for the family and for her, and I
Mm.
still am excited about all my adventures and like how can I get more organized and really use the time I have in the best way. And I don't know, I feel like I have become a better person as a mom. I mean, I don't know how everyone else in my family feels, but
That doesn't matter, actually.
better.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that all after all that trial and tribulation, and you do have this really beautiful song to share for it
Oh,
also.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it so much.
Oh, thank you.
Um, I'm wondering if there's any, like, bit of advice you have advice you have for anyone who's looking to consider this option and or is on the fertility journey. Maybe they, like you, are 44, and I know that eh, you mentioned your age a few times, but the truth is that studies do show that kids are benefit greatly from parents who are older. I
Oh,
just
I
wanted
feel
to
like
say that
I'm
out
a
loud. I just
much yeah, I feel like I'm a much better mother than I would have been 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Much more together and healed and ready to be a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the advice I would give for people that are considering donor egg is that just to be prepared for phases of mourning. You're letting go of your DNA being involved. So it's like mourn that. And you're letting go of the possibility that your baby may not look like you, or if that's something that's important to you, you may have to mourn that. And it happened in phases for me. It happened before the initial decision, it happened when I was pregnant, it happened it happened when they were implanting. I When they were
Mm.
implanting the embryo, I was crying. I was like, Wait, is this right?" I doubted it along the way. Even when I was 9 months pregnant, I was like, "What have I done? Who is this person inside of me?"
Sure,
Um,
yeah. I think people feel that way regardless
Even if
also.
it's their own DNA, yeah, probably. But yeah, I think just be prepared for the emotional ups and downs of it. But I can say that like there's no way I could love my child any more than I do. Like not possible.
Mm.
So, you know, giving up your the involvement of your DNA is seems like such a small thing to me now, to have this soul that I get to live the rest of my life with. It's just no brainer.
I love that so much. I hear the rest of your life, but I also hear lifetimes, because this
Totally.
soul
I
is
hope so. Yeah. I want to be with her as much as I can for eternity. She's the best.
yay. Where can we find you, your music, your beautiful makeup line, and
Oh. Well, right now my website is katpierce.com, and that'll take you to music, that'll take you to the tarot deck I created, that'll take you to
mm,
my beauty products. Um So that's probably the easiest way to find, things if you want to get your hands on those. And then there's my Instagram, which is I am cat dog, which is a nickname my sister gave me years ago, and I can't believe that's my Instagram handle.
it's really cute.
Yeah. And then I have one for Omen Beauty as well. It's called Omen by Cat Pierce. And yeah, all my music's on Spotify, Apple Music, under Cat Pierce. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
You are such an effortless, creative being. It's really amazing.
Oh, thank you. There is some effort, I promise.
I
I'm glad it comes across as effortless, but
I'm sure there's effort, but I just
I
really
know,
honor all the different ways that you allow your expression to exist outside of you.
oh,
Through
thank you
music,
so
through
much. That's
tarot,
really s
through
yeah,
makeup, through your baby and your love and even your relationship with your sister. It's just an honor
oh,
to get to know you. I see why
thank you
Genevieve
so
loves you
much.
so much.
Aw, thank you, Daniela.
Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for advocating on behalf of this very important, you know, women's issue.
Yeah,
And for
happy to do it.
egg donors, I really appreciate it so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, friends, see you next week on the Mom Curious podcast. We love ya. Bye. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Mom Curious podcast. My name is Daniella Rabbani. I am your host, and I would love to continue this conversation at Daniella Rabbani on Instagram. And if you'd be so kind to rate and review, share this podcast, I would be just really grateful. Catch you next time, every Tuesday on the Mom Curious podcast, produced by Hoff Studios. You can find them at Hoff Studios on Instagram as well. All right, have a great day.